Happy Tuesday. Happy start of the NHL season. 3 games on tap. Welcome to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Joaquin Gage, who's public enemy number 1 right now. Zachticum producing the show. We got a fun lineup today. We're coming to you live from the William Huff Studios here in the west end of the city. Like always, hit us up on the Nasty Chat on YouTube or text us at 780-218-9999. If you want to listen to us, you can do so by going to EdmontonSportsTalk.com. TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. Everything's working. Everything's back to normal. Nice. You can watch us on the EST YouTube channel. At 1:20, we'll be joined by Adam Kimelman, Deputy Managing Editor, NHL.com. We'll go around. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. Strickland turning down $88 million. Utah playing their first game. So we'll go around the NHL. At 1:40, we're going to do our NHL predictions. We're going to try to finish him in that segment. If not, we'll continue in the second hour of that. In hour 2, of course, it's the EST Flyaway to LA, proudly presented by the 780. And at 2:05, good guy, Andy Strickland, right before St. Louis drops the puck against the Kraken, he'll join us. And we're going to check in on Holloway, Broberg, Jake Neighbors, all the Edmonton connection there as well. And this day in sports in the final segment. Gager, you're taking a lot of heat here on the Nasty Chat. What did you do?
These knuckleheads don't know what they're talking about. Like, this was to start a franchise, okay? You got to think about starting a franchise. What type of player are you going to grab? And so just from a pure hockey standpoint, I think that by solidifying with one of the greatest defensemen that could ever play the game is way more important than the superstar forward. He just creates the way that he can play on both sides of the puck. When he's at the top of his game, there's no one better. And we talked about that game with Quinn Hughes when he was doing those things, creating chaos in the offensive zone because he's a defenseman and where you generate offense from. And look, watching Cale Makar go up against Connor McDavid in the playoffs, the way he was able to shut him down, like it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. But I do have recency bias because of the greatness. I'm not saying Connor McDavid's not great, but when you're starting a franchise, I think it's a lot. Hey, look, it's difficult to get a player like Connor McDavid, of course. But I think you can find gifted, offensively talented forwards way faster, and they're way more abundant than what you can do on the back end. There's only one Cale Makar, and then there's the rest of NHL defensemen.
Fazilla says, Cager's crazy with that take. Makar's top 10, not top 5. Brett B says Makar's definitely top 5, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, Penner's Pancakes ranks him Mcdavid, Makar, McKinnon, Leon Matthews. That's his top 5. So I get what you're saying, but I mean, we're in Edmonton. It's always going to be the bias of if you're starting a franchise, who would you prefer? And we talked about this. Was it last week when Maddie got us going right before the show and saying he would take Makar as well?
I know.
Yeah. So
Maddie's a genius.
And breaking right when 2 guys went on air, he's coming home, Gager. He's coming home.
Yeah,
Raphael Lavoie.
Everyone.
Well, we're speculating. The Oilers can pick him up.
Yeah, everyone get out to the airport. Welcome him. Welcome him back.
I thought I can't miss prospect like this. Vegas would be crazy to let him go on waivers.
Come on. It's they got their guy. I was very fascinated. I thought how waivers worked. I mean, I had to go through them at one point, and I thought that was the way it. But I guess it's completely different. I have to brush up on my whole waiver wire and the process of it. I thought it was if you go through waivers, then it goes through the years prior draft order, and you go through all the teams. If someone picks you up, you go to that team. You have to stay for a month. If you go through waivers again, you go the original team, I thought, had first dibs to pick you back up before you went through it again. And if they didn't, then you'd go through and then they could send you to waivers. But I guess it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think we're all a little confused. We're all we all have different, thoughts on or what we thought was the correct way that waivers was handled. So we need some clarification here. I saw, so Raphael Leroy, if he is reclaimed and the only claim, he can be sent down to AHL Bakersfield. And I think for the Oilers, why not, right? It's a guy you've drafted, a guy you've kind of put some time into, and if you can grab him back and not risk losing him, then boom, he's back with the Bakersfield Condors. And Edmonton Oilers fans are all happy because yesterday was complete chaos because they lost him, right? So we'll see. Today at practice, Jeff Skinner back with Arvidsson and Draisaitl. I don't think any of us read too much into what happened yesterday.
I did.
It was just a kick in the butt. The Bettino Heat brought some heat today on the morning show. He wasn't too impressed with Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner's an old dog. Like he knows what it takes in the regular season. I'm not too worried that he kind of laid back a bit in the preseason. Even if that's what he did, maybe he just wasn't feeling it. Maybe it took him time to get used to playing with Draisaitl and Arvidsson. But for me, I'm not too concerned about Jeff Skinner.
I am. Maybe it's just because we've been talking about it so much. And now I've thought about it more than I probably should. And listening to Button's rant, look, this guy, again, this isn't Buffalo. You know, going into Buffalo, most years for Skinner's been, okay, well, at least we can plan our holidays because we know exactly when we're going to be done every single year, right? Like now it's a little bit different. I'm sure it was fascinating for him to come into that locker room and see a completely different mindset than he's been used to. Yeah. Right. So there'll be a feeling out process of getting ready. But yeah, I thought that, you know, there would be a little bit more, what's the right word? I'm trying to, excitement.
He's around guys that just went to Game 7 of Stanley Cup Finals. Do you know what I mean? This guy's never played on a playoff team.
But if you were that, wouldn't you be like super jacked?
I'd want to show like, I belong here, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be like Spicoli, like relaxed in the back of the class. Like this is, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
God, I love that movie.
Fast Times?
Oh, yeah. It's a classic. Yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. And I mean, it might take him a few games to get going here, but I mean, the lines are set in stone. It looks like the only thing up for debate, if it's Stetcher or Dermott, who's not signed yet, and I would assume he'd be signed by tomorrow.
Again, I really have to brush up on my rules.
Yeah.
Like I think for him to be here, he has to be under contract, and you'd think that would be tonight. But now there's Savoy's up, right? So to accrue the cap to start the year, there's what, 900,000. Yeah. I mean, I can't see him going.
He's not getting.
I don't think he's getting more than the minimum, right?
No.
The 7. Oh. Yeah. Like, they got to sign him. I think.
I mean, he's practicing with the team, so he's going to be here. It's just a matter of when do they sign him, right? So. This one from Krager says, what do you think the point of Vegas taking Lavoie off waivers was for them to immediately put him back on waivers? Well, they did pick up two guys.
They got 2 pickups and they got 1. So again, I thought you had like, what is it? Like catching 2 fish and you throw the other one back if you don't like it?
Maybe they saw more value in the other guy. And that's why I say here, and listen, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. We overvalue the young guys here in Edmonton. We do. We think they're going to be these they're all going to be top-line players. And
they're all top 6.
Yeah, and Raphael Lavoie, I get it. He's a really good AHL player that puts up points. But here in Edmonton, who is it replacing in your top 6? No one, Gager.
No. And if he doesn't fit, there are other players better suited to fit into the bottom 6 of the Edmonton Oilers. Drake Caggiula.
What he would have to do, Gager, right, is kind of like a lot of talented guys before him. Marty Regener comes to mind, who was an excellent offensive player before he turned pro, and he admitted, I had to change my game in the NHL and become a good bottom 6. So if Raphael Lavoie is open to becoming a two-way kind of reliable guy that can chip in offensively at times, play on the second power play unit depending on the team, I think that's what he's got to do, because here he's not going to play in the top 6.
Sean Horkoff, man. That guy was a fourth liner when he first came to Edmonton. Learned how to be a good, solid offensive player. It doesn't happen automatically. It's very rare that it does. Geez, even Leon Draisaitl was up and down, and coming up to the top six. I mean, the Oilers were in a completely different situation then, but another guy figuring it out. It doesn't happen immediately like it does for like a player of the caliber of a Cale Makar.
And Joel, I think I'm just trying to read. They're sending a lot. I don't see a place for him. I don't think they'll put him in, so trade him. Like, he doesn't even get a chance. But because the Oilers are contending for a cup gager, they're not in the process of giving young guys, hey, let's see what happens. No. You know what I mean? Unless there's a ton of injuries, and that's not the worst thing in the world because you're set. Like Arvidsson, Skinner, Nuge, and Hyman are your four wingers in the top six. Are you really putting Lavoie ahead of any of those guys?
No, not unless something is really gone wrong or something. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to do something like that, right? But I'm just trying to see to look at their minor league guys, non-roster players. I mean, Philp, Hamblin, Kajula, Peterson,
Savoie.
These are the guys that he has to compete with to get called up, and I think that the defensive minded or just the two-way play of Kajula and even Philp to an extent, man. Like, I don't know, and even going to their first rounder with Sam O'Reilly, he's a smart hockey player. Yeah. I'll probably watch. I believe London Knights.
He's a lot closer.
He's a lot closer, and it's why is he closer? Is because he'll be able to fit in to one of those roles in those bottom six roles, like being a centerman especially. But look, you're bringing him. He puts up some points in junior. I understand that, but the fact that his game is geared around the defensive side, you could see him a lot sooner than you might see like a top pick who's more geared towards the offensive side of the game.
Yeah, Zedmo says, I want Rafi to make it here. Maybe they should deal him if he won't play, better than going no return if he's lost on waivers. But I'll tell you this, Zedmo, there's probably not there's not a market for Raphael Lavoie. Again, we're overvaluing these guys. This one says they are wasting his talent. Why? Like, I guess what people are trying to say on the Nasty Chat Gager is you'll never know if you don't try him there, but there's a reason why he's not being tried there. Like DVD said it yesterday, he was good in training camp. He didn't stand out, right? Yeah. Like you don't just give a top six role to a young guy just because the fans think this guy's going to be the next Mark Stone, like someone said yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, you have to earn it. And he's been good. He scored a power play goal, but like, let's be real here, people. He's not going to play on the power play. There's a reason why Chris Knobloch won't put him in the top six. Same reason why Woody wouldn't.
Fat guy in a tiny car says Lavoie is Gen Z's Anton Lander. That's pretty funny. But like Anton Lander, who was
scored a hat trick in one preseason.
Very gifted offensive player who couldn't find it. Went down to the American League, torched it. From all accounts, he's playing back in Gothenburg, Sweden, I think, and he's tearing it up, right? But sometimes it just doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So
Fat guy in a tiny car is also brilliant because he agrees with me that Makar should be taken first when starting a franchise. So.
Oh boy, Gator getting everybody upset about his pick of Makar over McDavid. But keep the conversation going. It's a good conversation, but I think Gator and I are on the same boat where it's like you just don't hand the position to Raphael Lavoie because we think he can be a top goal scorer in the NHL.
Don't you think that though people are upset because just they've seen so much talent walk out the door?
Sure.
Right? I understand that. But you gotta go look at other teams of what's happened in these types of scenarios. They don't have a lot of good young players. And I mean, we were talking about it earlier on two guys that the team that's kind of doing it right, where you might see a lot of blueprints being followed, and a lot of things have to happen right. But the Dallas Stars have a good mix. probably the best mix in the whole National Hockey League of veterans and good young talent coming up on their actual roster.
And someone brought that up. They're like Dallas, Stankoven, Wyatt Johnson. There's a difference though. There was openings on that top six because Ben, Sagan were getting older and some guys weren't fitting the bill. So there was opportunity. Where here in Edmonton, there's not.
Well, and maybe you'll see that in 4 or 5 years from now.
Of course, yeah.
You might see Draisaitl and Nuge going down or playing, and some younger guys.
Hyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like so. next year when Arvidsson and Skinner are up, if they don't bring him back, there's 2 openings right there, Gager.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little bit different, and you make a great point because you're saying like, yes, you have to look at it at a team by team basis and what their roster looks like.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, Raphael Lavoie, if he's as good as everybody in Edmonton thinks he is, he'd be on an NHL team. Right?
Yeah.
Seriously, he would.
Yeah.
Because if you think Vegas selected him and they go off last year's kind of rotation. A lot of teams passed up on him. Bad teams, Gager. So there's your answer right there. It's 1:20 here on EST Afternoons. We got to get to a break as we got Adam Kimelman coming up from NHL.com as we'll go around the NHL. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers get going tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll have full coverage here from 6 to 6 along with the Oil Stream pregame show starting at 7 o'clock, followed by the postgame show with Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and myself. We'll continue the NHL talk on the other side of the break. But first up, here's Zachticum with a sports update.
Raphael Lavoie has been placed on waivers by the Golden Knights, while Chris Driedger and Mackenzie Entwistle of the Panthers hit the wire. Vegas claimed Lavoie from the Oilers yesterday, and Lavoie had played 7 games for the Oilers last season. 3 games are on tap in the NHL regular season, including the Blues against the Kraken, Bruins facing the Panthers, and the Blackhawks meeting the Utah Hockey Club for their very first regular season game. The Oilers open up their season tomorrow against the Jets. MLB playoffs see the Phillies and the Mets, as well as the Dodgers visiting San Diego to play the Padres. Both series are tied at 1 apiece. Right after the break, Adam Kimelman joins Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
1:24 here on EST Afternoons. How you doing? It's another wonderful day here Nice fall day as the NHL season kicks off with 3 games starting at 2:30. All games are televised, which is great for us. Blues at Kraken, and then at 5 o'clock, it's the Boston Bruins taking on the defending Stanley Cup champions, who are going to have a banner raising, all that, the Florida Panthers. And then later tonight, the inaugural season for the Utah Hockey Club as they host the Chicago Blackhawks. It'd be pretty cool to be there, eh, Gager?
Yeah, no, I think I saw a couple things that they're doing, but let's face it, that arena is not built for hockey, which is going to be a little bit tough. But maybe the cheap hot dogs and beer make up for it.
Are we good to go with Adam here? Yes, as we bring in Adam Kimelman, Deputy Managing Editor at NHL.com. I used to have Adam back at the old station as well. Adam, thank you for taking the time today to join us. I know it's a busy day down at NHL.com headquarters. From everything I'm seeing online and the vibes and all that, looks like it's a great time in Utah for their first inaugural game.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of my colleague Nick Katsunika. He gets to be out there for the first game in Salt Lake City, and it's going to be a party. I remember years and years ago, I got to go to Las Vegas when they had the big ceremony to announce the name of the team. So I hadn't even played a game yet, didn't have jerseys. They were actually just naming the team, and that was one of the coolest moments I've ever been to. 5,000 people packed into this little plaza outside T-Mobile Arena. Now I get to watch as this new wonderful team is birthed in Salt Lake City. It's going to be really cool. The jerseys are great. The atmosphere is great. The fans certainly are super passionate already from what we've seen. So it's going to be a pretty cool environment there.
What do you think the ceiling is for this team? I selfishly, I guess I thought that the main reason for the move was they were a team on the upswing, and I don't think the NHL wanted to have Stanley Cup playoff games in a 5,000 to 6,000 seat arena. Is this a Utah team that can challenge for one of these wild card spots, do you think, this year?
I think and there'll be an opportunity there. I think what really hurts them is I think if you look at the 4 division, the Central Division to me seems to be the most difficult one to make headway in, when you've got Colorado, Nashville, Winnipeg, Dallas, who aren't just 4 of the top 4 teams in that division. They could be 4 of the 7 or 8 best teams in the NHL this season. So how do you sort of make hay against those? St. Louis is still pretty good. I think Minnesota has a chance to be a little bit better this year. And then where does sort of Utah kind of fit in against some of those teams? I think it's going to be a tough ride for them to get into the playoff hunt, but I think they'll be close. I think they'll be knocking on the door. If you go back and you watch last season, the first half of the season, almost through January, they were a wild card team. And then things sort of went the other way and they fell off a little bit. But can they do it this season? They're going to be, they certainly improved on the back end, bringing in Mikhail Sergachev and bringing in John Marino, even though he's not going to play tonight. He's banged up. Ian Cole, another guy with Stanley Cup experience. They're going to really lean on some of their kids. Logan Cooley and Josh Doan are going to be expected to play big roles for them. But I think they're going to push teams. I don't know if they're a playoff team. I don't know if I'd put a couple of bucks on them getting into the postseason, but I think they'll be knocking on the door.
Adam, just some reports coming out today about Igor Shesterkin rejecting $88 million over 8 years. I know he said he's trying to set the market for his fellow goaltenders. We just saw Swayman sign there in Boston for what was reported just over 8 per year. What do you make of this news coming out regarding Igor Shesterkin? Because I mean, if you look at it, 11 mils pretty good for a goalie, one of the top goalies, but a goalie that hasn't gone all the way yet. So what do you make of Shesterkin rejecting this big payday?
Well, again, reports are what they are, but to me, he's the best goalie in the league. Him or Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg. I think this is just part of negotiations and part of, kind of the road guys tend to take. For a lot of guys, free agency is something that's going to happen maybe once in their careers, where they're really allowed to cash in and get the life-changing money. And maybe Shesterkin is the kind of player who wants that opportunity. He wants to kind of explore what else is out there. Not saying he's going to leave New York. I mean, the Rangers have the advantage of being the only team that can offer him an 8-year contract if he's interested in that level of security. I don't know what his thought process is. He's been to the Eastern Conference Final twice in the last three seasons. So obviously they're a team that's built to win now. He's a a guy who was built to get a team deep into the playoffs. He's proven he can do that. And honestly, if that's what he's going for, setting the market for NHL goalies, I think this is the guy that can and should be the one to do it, because I think he's the benchmark at this point as we start the 24-25 season that everybody else is judged against.
I love this time of year because we can finally stop talking about who teams are going to have as a fourth line center and seventh defenseman, and we can get into the real nuts and bolts. And one of the things that always, especially at the start of the year, we talk about is if a team possibly doesn't get off to a good start, and what coaches have the most amount of pressure on them to have early on success. Is there a team or a coach that you think has a little bit more pressure put on them than you'd say maybe even here in Edmonton, where you probably see a longer leash than most head coaches?
Well, it's hard to say where coaches are. I think we have some really good coaches in this league, and I think there are things that tend to happen maybe outside of their control, and they end up being the victim of some poor play or some poor roster management or just bad luck. I don't know if there are, it would be sort of, I don't know if I'm ready to say, well, this team has to get off to they got to win 7 of their first 10, or if they lose, 6 of their first 8, this guy's going to get fired or anything like that. I just think there's teams that they have internal expectations. I look at the Buffalo Sabres, and they just hired a new coach in Lindy Ruff. And obviously the expectations there are to make the playoffs. So, getting off to an 0-2 start sort of isn't conducive to that. So there are teams that have internal beliefs. There's teams that have external expectations that are a little bit different. I'm in Philadelphia, and the belief is they're probably not a playoff team. But internally, they look at where they were through the first 65, 70 games of last season, and they were a top 3 team in the Metropolitan Division, and they expect to maybe go a step further this year. So there's always that push and pull of internal expectations versus external expectations. And, who's to say what team gets off to a slow start or a good start or whatever? Does that make the coach, that put him on the hot seat a little bit more? I think it's a little bit unfair at this point to say, this team better get off to a good start or else.
Adam, speaking of expectations here in Edmonton, the expectations are the Oilers will return to the Stanley Cup final. There is a little bit of concern regarding their D-core right now. I think they're solid up front, solid between the pipes. But from the outside looking in, do you see the Oilers as a team that could get back to the Stanley Cup finals?
Oh, for sure. You look at the way things line up in the Pacific Division and Vancouver's goaltending situation being as questionable as it is with Thatcher Demko hurt. I think that certainly opens the door to Edmonton to, if they get off to a really strong start, they can really put the hammer down pretty quick in that division, because I don't know if there's another team other than the Vancouver Canucks that can sort of keep up with the Oilers from a depth standpoint, from a skill standpoint. I think LA is and Vegas are sort of, close to maybe being able to keep pace with Edmonton. But I think the Oilers have shown they could be at a different level when their game is going. And certainly they're going to be motivated after, whether that's anger or frustration or whatever you want to call it, as for the way last season ended, that they're going to want to push and get out early and, really show that there's some extended determination there that they earned from going through what they went through last season.
Adam, you have a goalie in Philadelphia that could probably be a small forward on the Sixers too. Ivan Fedotov. This guy is an absolute monster in the net. It looks kind of weird seeing him in there. What's his training camp been like, and is he ready to take the step to be a full-time NHLer this year?
I think there's more. I think he was able to exhale this summer, right? He comes in, I don't want to say he parachuted into Philadelphia without telling anyone he was coming first, but it's not far removed from that. The Flyers really didn't know when he was coming, if he was even going to come after everything that had happened previously. He comes in, no training camp, no opportunity to really acclimate himself to the situation. He did his best in the couple of games that he got into, the one start. I think this summer allowed him to sort of understand life in North America a little bit more. His English has gotten better. Now he's had a full training camp to understand, because that's the biggest thing in as far as adjusting from the European ice to the NHL ice. It's the angles, it's the puck play, it's the way the puck comes off the boards is far different for a goalie in North America than it is in Europe. Plus, he has to deal with the traffic in front of him, even though, yes, he's 6'8" and he can see over most, most small land objects, but he's still got to be able to handle the traffic and handle guys, in his crease way more so than he saw in the KHL. So it's been a lot of adjusting and getting used to things, and he's had a good camp. The Flyers have sort of promoted Sam Ersson and said Sam is going to be our number one guy to start the season, and that's how we're going to progress. And Fedotov will play, whatever, commensurate amount of backup goalie gets nowadays, whether it's 30, 35 games. But again, that's the plan going into game one on Thursday. Coming out of game one on Friday, it could be very different depending on how things happen. That's the way coaches and teams sort of approach things now. But it's sort of on Fedotov to continue to adjust to life in North America and how the hockey is played over here versus how it is over in Europe. And he's done a decent job so far, but there's still going to be more of a learning curve for him.
Adam, Ovi's 41 away from the great one here. He had a slow start last year. He really picked it up towards the end. It's a lot to ask because Ovi's getting a little bit older there, and he's not moving as well as he used to. But if you had to predict what his goal range would be this year, only being 41 back of Wayne Gretzky, how do you see Ovechkin's season going?
So I'm going to put my fan hat on here and go, I want him to score. You know what? I want him to get it. I want him to break it. And I want him to just keep right on going. It's such a fantastic thing. Like, I don't know. And I was thinking about this the other day. This is the 20th season for Ovechkin, the 20th season for Crosby. I don't know in our lifetime if we're going to see two guys arrive at the same time with monumental expectations and exceed them the way both of those guys have. You're looking at a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, face of the league, and you're looking at a guy who is going to break, hopefully this year, if not, then for sure next year, one of the unbreakable records in sports, 894 goals for Wayne Gretzky. 21 years ago, nobody thought anybody was going to ever touch that record. And now we've got a guy that we're saying it's not if he does it, it's when he does it. So it's remarkable. And I hope people who are watching today, whether Ovechkin gets there or not, can just take a minute and appreciate what you're getting to watch and what you've gotten to watch for the last 2 decades. These two amazing players who came in with so much hype and have exceeded that hype if it was possible for them to do. So, yeah, I know it kind of wasn't really what you asked, but yes, I hope Ovechkin gets it, and I hope he smashes it, and he keeps going even past 900 goals, because it's as a fan, because at the end of the day, that's what we all are. We're all hockey fans on top of whatever media stuff we do. Like, you live for these great moments. And, last generation got to see Gretzky. We get to see Ovechkin. And it's so cool to be able to be a small, part of enjoying, what those fans down in Washington especially have gotten to enjoy the last 20 years.
Adam, great stuff. Thank you for taking the time on a busy day as the NHL kicks off their brand new season today with 3 games. One gets going in just under an hour here as the Kraken take on the St. Louis Blues. Adam, enjoy the season. I'm sure we'll check in with you probably somewhere in the middle just to get a quick update. But thank you for your time today.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Adam.
That's Adam Kimelman, Deputy Managing Editor at NHL.com. You think Ovi hits it?
Yes. Of course he does.
So he's 41 away, okay, Gager, and he had an extremely slow start last year. He finished with 34 goals. The year before he finished with 31. The year before he had 42. The year before 50.
Yeah.
This is good. Like, say he starts on he's on fire to start the season. This is gonna be amazing to track and watch.
I hope so. I want Ovi watch all year long, and it's too bad that he can't have like a Backstrom and an Oshie still.
I know.
But both on Backstrom on LTIR, Oshie he's done for the year. But looking at who he has to play with, Dylan Strome, good puck mover, Mangiapane. If Pierre-Luc Dubois actually finds himself, there's another player that can that can help get him to that. And you've heard these guys talk about one of their biggest jobs in this season is helping Ovi break that record. Because look, when you have records like that are going to be broken, the only thing I was worried about is being the goalie that was scored on, because then you would be like you would be more recognizable than if your name was on the Stanley Cup. You would be the goalie that allowed that goal that broke Gretzky's record. So no goalie wants to be that. But the guy that passes it to, I mean, I've hung out with Marty McSorley. He doesn't shut up about that, right? Wayne wouldn't have got there without Marty. That's what he always says.
Yeah, it's it's going to be fun. I'm going to ask Oiler fans this. Most of our listeners are Oiler fans. Do you want to see an Oiler record broken, or are you? Do you know what I mean? Because there's some people are like, no, it's got to be Gretzky's. It's got to be always Gretzky. But you know, Oilers, like, we grew up. We like the team. We cheer for them. We keep it professional though. But I want to see Ovechkin break this. It's outstanding if he does.
The thing is, and I do like the storied history of the great players, and some of their records I do feel like they shouldn't be broken. They should belong to them the whole time. But he's put in the work, man. This thing would be completely destroyed without lockouts at this point, right? So
that's a great point. He missed the whole year.
He missed two. Well, parts.
Yeah.
Like, so this thing would have been done, because that was all those lockouts and all those work stoppages. They were during when Ovi was going absolutely crazy. Yeah. So this thing should be broken. It should have been broken probably 3 years ago, if you really look at it. Yeah. And it would be more watching Ovi to see if he breaks 1,000. That's what it would have been.
Yeah, Bonnie Dunron says, like Ronaldo and Messi, glad we've been able to witness the battle. 100%. And Brett B says, records are made to be broken, in my opinion. And Trent H says, I may never see this kind of record broken in my lifetime. So hell yeah, I want to see it. Do you want to see Ovechkin break Gretzky's record, or are you one of those fans that's like, no, it's got to stay with the Oilers? It's 1:41 here on Tuesday afternoon. Coming up next, it's time for our fun NHL predictions. We want you to take part in it as well on the Nasty Chat or on our text line at 780-218-9999. I gave Zachticum and Gage some homework last night. They complained it was too much, but we'll have some fun with that. That's all coming up. And of course, in hour two, Andy Strickland quickly from the arena there as he's covering the Blues and Kraken, and we will qualify someone else for the EST flyaway to LA. Here's a sports update with Zachticum.
Raphael Lavoie of the Golden Knights, Chris Strider, and Mackenzie Entwistle of the Panthers have been placed on waivers. Lavoie played 7 games last year for the Oilers and was just claimed from the Oilers yesterday. 3 games are on tap in the NHL regular season, including the Blues against the Kraken, Bruins facing the Panthers, and the Blackhawks meeting the Utah Hockey Club in their franchise first regular season game. The Oilers open their season tomorrow at home with the Jets. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May will get his first career start this week. May was picked 3rd overall in this year's NFL draft from the Patriots. New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh has been fired by the team after a 2-3 start. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will now serve as the interim coach. Today in the MLB playoffs, we see the Phillies and the Mets. The Dodgers visiting San Diego to play the Padres, with both series tied at 1 apiece. Right after the break, we get into some NHL predictions here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and now you're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Your
brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Lynyrd Skynyrd with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
1:45 here on EST Afternoons. How you doing out there? It's Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. I was going to say we're about to have some fun, but we always have fun, Gage.
Yeah, there's always fun in here.
Oh, you're muted there, so...
Oh, there's a Zach. That's Zach's fault. That's all right, Zach.
Let's blame Iwanek because he kept coming over here to talk to him. So
look, yesterday, Zach, I was driving home and I was listening to you, and I was like, and I didn't realize it for probably a good, I don't know, probably about 60, 70 meters driving. I was like, geez, Zach sounds really professional. And I was like, hey, man, good job. So I almost forgot. I meant to tell you that. But reading the reads and stuff, look, I know how difficult that is. You've in this short time that our show and Reed's show has started up, you've come a long way, buddy. You should don't give yourself too many kudos because I know you get a big head, and I gotta pin that thing once in a while because it gets too big. But you're doing great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Professional wasn't in the key words that I would have described myself, but
okay, Zach, that's enough. That's
okay.
Zach, you get your shot ready because you're going to partake in our NHL predictions. We're going to have some fun. We want you to join in as well. If we don't finish in this segment, we probably won't because we have to get to Andy Strickland right at just after 2 as he's down there covering the game.
There's no way we're getting through all this.
We'll continue at 2:20. Oh boy, and chime in on the nasty chat with your predictions or on the inbox at 780-218-9999. Chief Andy says, despite Hernan riding the Stuart Skinner choo-choo train, he's doing a good job as a host. Thank you. He's not a fan of Stuart Skinner. He's concerned. Yeah. On the post-game show, he was a little concerned about the Oilers' goaltend.
Oh, stop it.
I think this is the first time in a long time I'm not concerned about the goaltend.
It's the first time in years you're not worried about the goaltending. In 5 years. First time in 5 years.
Yeah. All right. Zach, you ready to go here, my friend?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, let's go in order. Here we go. First prediction. Which playoff team from last year will miss the playoffs this year in each conference?
It's easy. And then you just want one, East first?
Yeah, go East first.
Washington.
Perfect.
Well, I was going to say Washington.
Well, you can say Washington.
Washington.
I'm going to say the Islanders.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
You don't think they got the Patty Waugh gets those boys in there?
No, I don't. And Sorokin's kind of up in the air, his status. I think they overachieved last year.
Yeah, they got the coach bump for a bit there, and they're just not – they're a good team. Like, you can't take them lightly, but they just – Matthew Barzal can only do so much.
Yeah, Rough from the Grove says Florida. Hey, it wouldn't be the first time a Stanley Cup team misses the playoffs the next year. Boston, wow. I can't see Boston.
A Stanley Cup champions never missed the playoffs the next year.
Yeah, they have. Carolina in 06.
Did they miss?
Yeah.
I thought they made the playoffs.
Yeah. So it does happen. How about in the West, boys? Let's start with Zachticum here.
All right. Well, I think
we're
in
all
the
gonna have
West.
the same answer.
You think so?
Yes.
No, I don't know about that. I was gonna say LA Kings. I don't know.
It's Kings.
I was gonna say King.
Yeah,
There's no one else.
No.
I looked at Nashville, but Nashville added Marchessault, Stamkos.
They're making it.
Yeah, they got Juicy Saros.
That's the one, like, Cass on Two Guys was talking about how, and I was like, yeah, you're kind of, you might have something there. I just haven't watched Nashville yet with all these new players, too.
Yeah, like it has to be LA. And award-winning Normology says LA. Trent H says LA. So that one's pretty.
Joel Vancouver. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I like it. VR Montenegro says Boston and LA. A lot of people not high on Boston, Gager. That's interesting to me.
No, they got a great, like, Swayman now signed. Really good goaltender. Have to keep the ISO cam on him a little bit. McAvoy is a great defenseman. And, they've got the superstar and Pasternak, Marchand, Coyle. They've got a really, really good team.
Yeah. They're just well coached.
Yeah.
I love their decor as well. All right. Second question. Which team that missed the playoffs last season will make it this time? West and East. How about I kick this one off? Since, in the West, let's start in the West. And I'm probably going to take some heat for this one. But I'm going to say the Minnesota Wild get in.
Okay. In the West, I don't know why, but I think Utah.
Oh, you're on the Utah train.
I just the novelty of it all, to create that Vegas-like atmosphere, to the excitement. I like their chances.
That's what I was gonna say too. I was gonna say Utah for sure. I mean, Sergachev now coming back from injury and having being on that squad, like, they're a nice, young, exciting team. And I don't know, for first season in the new spot, maybe, like you said, they might have that boost because it's their first year. Like, they are technically a new franchise. They didn't bring any of the history back, but like Vegas did in their first year, I don't think they'll go that far, but I feel like they have a good chance at making it to the postseason.
Total focus. No drinking on Sunday.
Rob from the Grove says Seattle. I was kind of leaning towards Seattle or St. Louis, but Kirill Kaprizov. I just love watching him play. And it'd be amazing to have him in the playoffs there. They got a good goaltending duo. Brock Faber's excellent young defenseman there. How about in the East, boys? I'm going to pick, and I think this is a very easy pick. I'm going to go New Jersey Devils. They got Jacob Markstrom. That was their biggest Achilles heel last season. And I think they're far too talented, Gager, to miss out on the playoffs for 2 years in a row. Yeah,
you got something there for sure. But I went a different route just because I've been on this team for the past 4 years that I thought that. And I'm going to go Ottawa Senators. I just think that they've got really good building blocks. And now with Linus Ullmark and net, maybe this is the final piece that can finally shore up those deficiencies on the defensive side.
I think that's a good pick, like a sneaky good one, because their goaltending hasn't really been too trustworthy. I went with the Buffalo Sabres because they were so good. They're the best team in the NHL at one point, right? And I mean, it kind of shifts throughout the year, but they were on a hot streak and then they just seemingly fell off, and they have so much young talent and like Power, Dahlin, like Byram, their back end is pretty insane. So for them to not make the playoffs, it looks weird because the last couple of years it was like, okay, they're on the right track now. They have that experience and they're finally growing as a team. But I feel like next year they could make it and should make it.
Well, they're 0-2, Zachticum, so they really got to get going. And
against the Devils, though.
Yeah, that's another fantastic point. Rob from the Grove picks the Penguins in the East. Normology, New Jersey. Corey B says Detroit and Utah. I like the Detroit pick, Gager. I think that's a sneaky pick.
It's good too. Yzerman has that. He's like a young Adrian Newey getting that car ready.
I like your pick of Ottawa. I think Ullmark makes a enormous difference for them. All right.
Okay, let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
What's going to be more impactful? Ullmark not in Boston or Allmark in Ottawa?
In Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
All right, let's go to the next one. This one is Breakout Player of the Year. So a guy that's, a year, 2 or 3 years in, who's kind of progressed every year, but this year he's just going to explode on the scene. Do you want to start, Gager?
Sure.
Okay.
He's been in the league a few more years, but I'm going with Darnell Nurse. Really, looking at his year last year, it wasn't to his standards at all. I think you're going to see a huge difference in Darnell Nurse this year.
Zachticum?
That's a funny pick because it's more like a bounce back season because his last really good season, I think, was in the bubble. But I don't know. I had a couple players, but I know Dusty is big on Quentin Byfield, and that's been talked about a lot. But I want to go with Leo Carlson. He's only entering his second year as a Duck, and he had 29 points, 12 goals in 55 games last season. A bit of injuries, I believe, as well on the Ducks. So I think he could turn it on and, maybe get 20 or more next year.
I like that pick. And he's centering the number one line there. So, Leo Carlson is an excellent pick. I also like Quentin Byfield, but I'm going to go away with it because I think that would be on top of everybody's list because this kid's going to be a beast, Gager. I'm going to go with a guy that played here and just signed a big deal, Dylan Guenther. And you picked them to make the playoffs. If they're going to go to the playoffs, I think Dylan Guenther is going to go off this year. The kid's highly talented. I got to watch him a lot with the old Kings at the old place. I was the on-site, I'll say producer because I'm not an engineer. So I got to see him a lot. So I'm really intrigued, and I think he is going to be the breakout player of the year. I'm going to see where. Let's go with this next one. We'll get to one more maybe because we got to get to Andy Strickland. Which coach is feeling the most pressure this season? Zachticum, if you want to start this off, if you're ready.
All right, I will. Well, anytime you're in Toronto, there's always that extra pressure to even make it past one round. You're always under the spotlight, and I feel like that's probably the most stressful market anyone could play in or be a part of. So I got to say Craig Berube in Toronto for the Maple Leafs. But another close pick, if I could pick two, would have to be Lindy Ruff of the Sabres because they've just been wavering for so long that
and they got
to make it.
They went back to an old dog, right, Gager? And I know Buffalo fans weren't happy because you always want the new up-and-coming coach. They started 0-2, so I don't mind that Lindy Ruff pick. Do you have one in mind, Gager?
I'm trying to think because I did have Lindy Ruff, but I don't. I'm trying to think of more Canadian teams. Does Marty St. Louis feel a little bit of pressure this year? I know that there's been some tough injuries and things like that, but this is a team that really needs to take a next step and prove that they can battle for a playoffs. Even if the Montreal Canadiens don't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world, but I think they need to be in the mix. They need to play meaningful games all the way up to April, I think. And if they're in a spot where, by middle of January, it looks like it's an extended training camp, you might see a change.
Yeah, I got two as well. I think Torts in Philadelphia, and I know they're on schedule. They were close to making the playoffs, but I think his style wears thin. That's why.
Oh God.
So if they start bad and he's got the young Russian on his first line, you're talking about the goaltender. I think it's something if they start slow, they'll look at and changing it because, like I said, he wears thin on his players because the way he approaches it. Yeah. And then I don't know if this is fair because it's his first year, but Scott Arniel in Winnipeg, I think Winnipeg really has to take that next step.
Well, and he was assistant coach before too, right?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, so I think that in that case, the leash is a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Than it would be if the GM goes out and grabs a guy and pulls him in.
Because, looking at all the teams, there's a lot of new coaches. And I didn't want to pick, I was thinking of Calgary, but I think Calgary's in that mode where they know they're going to maybe not be a playoff team. So you're not going to fire a guy.
And I think they like what he's doing in Calgary, too. Just that younger voice, easier to communicate. You need that in that kind of rebuilding kind of phase, I think, with some younger players.
I'm surprised no one said Chris Knobloch yet. How it is.
He's got the extended leash I have with my dog. But sometimes that breaks. So
for breakout player of the year, Robin McGrove says Jesse Puljujarvi. VR Montenegro says Holloway, who is on the first line this year. Aiden O'Neill says Byfield. Brett B says great pick, Zach. I don't know which one he's talking about. Aiden also adds Mav Bork. Oh, interesting. Chief Andy says Nurse plays good with no fans because he barely has any.
Chief Andy. Jesus.
Wow. No chill from Andy there. Normology says Broberg. Let's see here. Aiden O'Neill says Lalonde. Joel says Patrick Raw. Ooh, that's an interesting
one, Wah. Yeah.
I'm just going to check the inbox here, see if we have anything coming in. Breakout player Lavoie. And Bone says, big surprise, Gager. Just admit you love Stales.
I love Stales, actually. He's great. If you've ever met him, he's the salt of the earth. And he remembers me every time he sees me, so that's good.
Yeah, it's great. It's 1:59, though. We'll continue this after Andy and in the 220 segment, as well as we got a lot more categories to get through. Keep those coming in and chiming in with us with your predictions on the Nasty Chat and at 780-218-9999. Coming up in hour 2, the EST flyaway to LA. We'll have another qualifier and Andy Strickland on the other side of the break.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. In our city of champions and throughout the nation, they're the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
It's crunch time for your taste buds because for a limited time, A&W is collaborating with Ruffles to bring you the Ruffles Crunch Teen Burger, your favorite teen burger, and your favorite Ruffles cheddar and sour cream chips combined into one unique taste sensation. It's grass-fed beef. It's one-of-a-kind ridges and crunch. Try it in all its teen burger glory, or crunch into its equally tasty sidekick, the Ruffles Crunch Buddy Burger for just $4.99. Try one today at your neighborhood A&W.
Raphael Lavoie, Chris Strider, and Mackenzie Entwistle have been placed on waivers. Lavoie was picked up yesterday by Vegas from the Edmonton Oilers. 3 games on tap in the NHL, including the Blues and Kraken going in 30 minutes. Bruins facing the Panthers and the Blackhawks meeting the Utah Hockey Club in their first ever regular season game. The Oilers start their season tomorrow against the Jets. In the CFL, Morley Scott reports that Trey Ford will get the start this week for the Elks when they take on the Stamps, and that McLeod Bethel Thompson did not take a single snap today in practice. In the NFL, the New England Patriots have announced that Drake May will get his first career start against the Texans, and in New York, the Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will now serve as interim coach. Today in MLB playoffs, we see the Phillies and Mets, as well as the Dodgers visiting San Diego to play the Padres. Both of those series are tied at 1 apiece. Right now, EST Afternoons continues, and Andy Strickland will join Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage in just a moment. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Here in Edmonton, EST Afternoons on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, and we'll get to our guest right away as he's taking some time just before the game down there between the Blues and the Seattle Kraken. As we bring in Andy Strickland, ringside reporter for Bally Sports Midwest. Andy, thank you for taking the time today to join us here. Let's get right to it, as I know you don't have much time. I guess we'll check in on a couple of guys we're familiar with, Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg. How did they look this training camp, and where would they be slotted in today for the game?
And Holloway to flash, being a defenseman, just trying to ease your way in a little bit. He didn't play quite as early in the preseason as Holloway did. But Holloway scored some goals, scored an overtime winner early in the preseason, scored another couple goals later on in the preseason as well. And, he's earned a spot now playing on the top line today to begin the season, playing with Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors. So it's an interesting combination there with the playmaking skills and the puck skills of a Robert Thomas. And then kind of that north and south, grind game that Jake Neighbors can bring to the table, along with Holloway, with his speed and physicality, and obviously has shown the ability to make plays and to finish when the situation presents itself. So, and with Broberg, listen, he's going to play with Justin Falk. I think he's going to get an opportunity to quarterback that second power play unit as well, and get an opportunity there to showcase his skills. His last preseason game that he played, the 6th of 7 for the Blues, was his best game. And, you saw the skating ability, you saw the puck moving, he scored a nice goal and a nice pass from Robert Thomas. And you can see Broberg just getting more and more comfortable as the preseason progressed. So, both obviously in the lineup today, and both are going to be huge parts of the team here moving forward this season.
Drew Bannister taking over, gets a full training camp under his belt with the team. Any changes in how the structure of the team, what type of style that they're going to play, or is it basically pretty similar to last season?
I think it's similar. I think they made some tweaks in the power play. The power play obviously has to be better. When Bannister took over for Craig Berube, the power play was 31st in the league. I mean, it was god-awful, just terrible. And from the day he took over to the end of the season, they were 13th in the NHL. And a lot of guys started to really show up and produce on the power play. Most notably, Jordan Kyrou, Jake Neighbors. Thomas was scoring some goals. I think the three of those guys each tied for the team leading power play goals. So, obviously, they want to be a forechecking team, probably more so than a rush team. They got players who can make plays off the rush, but I think their style and the way they want to play is to grind you down and create, chances and produce offense off of those chances that they create deep in the offensive zone. So that's the plan, and listen, in terms of Craig Berube versus, Drew Bannister, more often than not, it comes down to your personnel. What kind of players do you have? What kind of team do you have versus just a coaching style? You got to coach to the players that you have, and that's the style they want to play.
Andy, one player that we're intrigued by here also in Edmonton is Jake Neighbors. He took a big step last year. What are the expectations for this young player? Like you said, he's on the first line with Robert Thomas and Dylan Holloway today, but what are you guys expecting out of Jake Neighbors this season?
Well, he scored 27 goals. He probably would have gotten to 30 if he didn't have a late season injury. So they expect him to take another step. He's a net front guy. He wins battles in front of the net. That's where he gets his chances. I think they'd like to see him produce a little bit more from a point production standpoint. He didn't have a whole lot of assists, last season, but he did score 27. And his shooting percentage was super high. I think that's the one thing where maybe you got to pump your brakes a little bit. He had 8 power play goals. If he can duplicate that, then maybe he can get to 25 or north of 25 once again and flirt with 30 goals. But again, when your shooting percentage is as high as his was, I mean, by far led the team and it was among the league leaders. I don't know how realistic it is for him to duplicate that this season, but they don't need him to score 30 either. It'd be nice if he did. But in terms of, for him to have an impact on the game and impact on the team, I don't think he has to be a 30-goal guy or a 25 to 30-goal guy. But that's where he should be at the end of the day in terms of his ability to score goals. There's no reason why he wouldn't get to 20 to 25 at minimum. And if he can stretch that and get that close to 30, I think it's a bonus.
Andy, one last one here for you. And once again, thank you for taking the time as puck drop is just about 20 minutes away there in Seattle. The Blues missed the playoffs by 6 points last season. Where do you see the Blues this year? Do you see them once again pushing for a wild card spot?
I think so. I mean, last year, listen, they never had extended losing streaks. They were always in it. They never felt completely out of it, but they obviously were never comfortably in it either. And, you know, when Bannister took over, I think they went 31-19-5 from the time that he took over. So they won a lot of games. They put themselves in good position. If they were an Eastern Conference team, you know, they would have made the playoffs, you know. So, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's listen, they're going to push for a wild card spot. I don't know if they can climb into the top three, although things change all the time. You know, from season to season, somebody that you expect to be in the playoffs isn't going to make it. Somebody that you expect not to make it is going to find their way in. So maybe that will be St. Louis. You know, they'll be fighting with teams like Nashville and Winnipeg and some of these other teams in the Central. We'll see how good Utah is and how competitive they can be. But listen, I expect the Blues to, you know, when the calendar switches to 2025 and we get deep into the season, into April. You know, they should have a chance to get in and not be completely out if they don't get in. Hopefully play meaningful games down the stretch. I think that would be the plan. But they expect to get in. I think they have a team that's good enough to get in there.
Andy, great stuff. Thank you for taking the time just before game time. Enjoy the first game of the season, and I'm sure we'll have you on once the Blues meet the Oilers.
Okay, guys. Take care.
That's Andy Strickland, a ringside reporter for Bally Sports Midwest. Where do you envision St. Louis? I mean, that first line's intriguing.
Yeah, but why? I mean, Robert Thomas and it's, Neighbors is, Robert Thomas is great. He's a really good player. Neighbors is great. Holloway on your top line?
No, I know. That's why it's intriguing. Like he's not a top line player in my eyes, which is fine.
He could be still. You didn't know. It's just, again, this is one of those situations where here you have to be really good to play in that top six. He's a good player. I'm just looking at their personnel, though. It kind of surprises me that I thought maybe second line. But I thought he would more sink down in that third line role like he was here. But we'll find out in 20 minutes. We'll see if 19 minutes. We'll see if he's any good.
If Holloway or Broberg scored today.
Oh, I can't wait.
The inbox and the NetJet's going to explode.
Yeah, it will be.
But yeah, I think Holloway's playing a little too high up in that lineup. I'm intrigued because it's a young guy. It's three young guys. All three bring something different. Like Neighbors is that nasty guy in front of the net. Thomas can do it all. I'll be honest. I'm surprised Thomas is taking this leap. Like he's really good.
The game. I think it was the second game in St. Louis last year. He dominated, and he played against Connor. Like he dominated Connor McDavid's line that whole game.
I like Broberg with Falk, too.
Really good.
I think Falk's more offensive, but he's a vet, knows how to get it done. And like Andy said, Broberg got better as the preseason wore on, which is, usually happens because you're playing with better players and you have a fuller lineup and all that. But
that's not a bad Falk and Parenko. Falk, Broberg, Parenko, and I'm guessing it's Nick Leddy that's playing with them. Ryan Suter's there too.
The vet.
Yeah,
they still got Braden Shen and the guy I like on the guy I like on St. Louis is
Busnevich?
No, keep going. I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm just drawing a blank. Kyrou. Jordan Kyrou.
Oh, Jordan Kyrou. Yeah, he got into a little bit of hot water with the fans last year with what had happened there. He said some things and then he got booed when he touched the puck and then kind of was upset about it and then came back and scored. So hopefully Drew Bannister, old teammate of mine, he can turn that thing around.
Banny. Number
Old Benny.
55.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah, he's pretty serious guy, but it's funny. Totally talking out of school there. But he played with me in Germany too. And there was this one little restaurant where we went to in the town, and the owner loved us, and he just kept bringing wine out. And it was really good wine. And we drank way too much of it. And I remember Benny went to the bathroom, and he was there for a while. And I went into the bathroom after him. And I don't know if you ever seen the Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy, when he goes into the bathroom and starts, after the kids come out of it, and look at it. I was horrified at the amount of red wine that had splattered all over the bathroom somehow. But no, it's good to see Benny back in the NHL and as a coach. Pretty cool.
He got promoted within, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So St. Louis, Alexandre Texier, I think that's how you say it. Bugnevich and Kyrou is the second line. Matthew Joseph, Braden Shen, Kasperi Kapanen, your third line. And Toropchenko, Faksa, and Walker, your fourth. I think this team might struggle, to be honest with you.
How long is Brandon Saad out for?
Well, Krug, Sundqvist, and Sad all out, and Sad's on the IR, so a veteran. Their goaltending, it's the same as last year, which I think is pretty good.
Bennington's a game changer.
Oh,
he's a huge game changer.
Gamer.
Yeah,
no one likes him, but
he's really again, the games that he played against Edmonton, he was out of sight. He was really good. But that's Saad and Sundqvist coming back. Those are two pretty big players for them as well.
For sure.
They're a good team.
Yeah, I think they're that bubble wildcard team.
Yeah, for sure.
I know Andy threw Nashville in there. I think Nashville's going to be really good this year.
Yeah, no, Nashville's on a different level because they have Matt Cassian's man crush in Roman Yossi. And
he just loves
him. And Saros is a potential Vezina Cup or Vezina Trophy winner, right? He's an elite goaltender. Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault, O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist. Yeah, man.
They got
Luke Evangelista. He's the cousin of Linda Evangelista, former supermodel.
Tommy Novak? He's a good little player too.
Yeah. No, they're
and future Edmonton Oiler, Dante Fabro. That's what I love about the market here is that you can just say a name
Oh yeah, well just get him. He'll come here.
Just say Kyrou, and then by tomorrow, everybody's talking about Kyrou on their show. There's 20 articles written about him, and there's just nothing to it, right? That's what happened with Dante Fabro. I don't know where that came from.
How do you think Stamkos is going to do this year?
We're going to get to it in NHL predictions. That's going to continue the next segment. But I'll say this. He's not playing with Point or Kucherov or Hedman.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not going to sit here and say it's a big difference because Yossi is all world. Philip Forsberg is a fantastic player.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not Kuch.
No, God, no.
He's not a distributor like Kucherov.
Or Braden Point.
Or Point, yeah. Yeah, Point's kind of a trigger man too, though. He's kind of like a. Who would you compare Braden Point to? What's a similar player?
Ooh, that's a good question because he's kind of like that. He's not Patrick Kane small.
No,
but he's not Stamkos big. He's like a in betweener. I know Zach wants to chime in here, so maybe he has an answer for us because that's who would you compare Braden Point to?
A little bit quicker Hyman with a little more skill.
I'd say a lot more. I think Braden Point's elite, man.
Yeah.
Sam Reinhart.
A Gensel?
I think he's better than both those guys.
Yeah, he is better than both those guys.
Damn, that's a good question. I'm trying to think on the spot here.
I wonder if Tampa's going to have to move locations after this hurricane goes through.
Oh, I know. Very scary. Very scary stuff. Who would you compare Braden Point to? We're going to ask you in the Nasty Check because I'm stumped right now. Or on the inbox, $99.99. But we'll continue our NHL predictions in the next segment. But it's time now for the part everybody's waiting for. It's the EST Flyaway to LA, proudly presented by the 780. The 780 is a homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. 780 is both a shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations. That's Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. Got your fingers ready, listeners? It's time to text 780-218-9999 for the EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780. And today's keyword is, I like this one, Gage, crypto. Crypto is the keyword. Text that into 780-218-9999, and our fantastic producer Zachticum will call him. During the break, we'll get you on air, and you will qualify for this trip. That's all coming up on EST Afternoons. Here's Zachticum with a sports update.
A day after being claimed on waivers by the Golden Knights, Vegas has placed Raphael Lavoie back on waivers. Lavoie played 7 games last year for the Edmonton Oilers. 3 games are on tap in the NHL regular season, including the Blues against the Kraken, Bruins facing the Panthers, and the Blackhawks meeting the Utah Hockey Club in their first ever regular season game. The Oilers open their season tomorrow against the Jets. According to Dave Campbell of Ched, Elks interim head coach Jarius Jackson says Trey Ford will start next week when the Elks take on the Stamps, while Jarrett Dodge will back up NBT, and MBT won't dress. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May will get the start this week against the Texans. May was picked 3rd overall in this last year's draft. New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh has been fired by the team after a 2-3 start. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will now serve as the interim coach. In the MLB playoffs, the Phillies battle the Mets, and the Dodgers visit San Diego to play the Padres. Both of those series are tied at 1 apiece. Right after the break, we call up the winner, or the qualifier, for the EST Flyway. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and now you're up to date.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
You got it, Matthew.
You let me know, Matthew. You're the fucking...
6:23. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Matthew Wanick was just in here. He puts you on edge when he's walking around the show, eh? No?
He's the boss, man.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm on edge.
I'm just waiting for him to say, you know what, Joaquin, this has been a interesting experiment, but thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you down the road.
Things are not working out as we anticipated, and hand in your keys, please. We're just waiting
Screw
on
that. I'm keeping the keys. Beer in here. I'm watching games.
They get rid of us. We're still going to come hang out here.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue with our NHL predictions.
Can I keep the office?
We want you to chime in, of course. Text line 780-218-9999. The nasty chat. But first, Zach's working on our next qualifier. You have to text in the word crypto. We were talking about crypto in the break. I still am confused by crypto.
Yeah, me too, man.
Someone can extremely dumb it down for me. I would greatly appreciate it because I have no idea I don't know how it works. I don't know squat about crypto, but it's Crypto Arena, you said? Yeah. In LA.
Go. There's that Netflix. Crypto King or Crypto something?
Yeah,
it's just a big scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, went to jail now, and
just a big.
He had it all, man, but he got greedy.
He didn't have anything and was very greedy. That was the thing.
That's a good point. Yeah, I read the book because Michael Lewis wrote it, and it just dropped last year, and I couldn't put it down, Gage.
Yeah, I bet.
It's fascinating, but again, I don't get the part I don't get is how crypto works. And all
then
that.
don't use it.
Yeah, exactly. I would never invest in something I don't know how to use. And you're the financial expert on the show, so.
Not expert, but I could probably steer you in the proper direction where it's easier to understand at least.
All right, we have our qualifier on the line. Who am I speaking with?
Shotsky Jerry, hopefully.
Shotsky Jerry. Shotsky Jerry, you there? Jerry?
Let's try that one more time. Let's try that one. You got the fader up over there?
Oh, yeah.
Shotsky, you there?
Do we have you?
How about now, Jerry? Are you there, Jerry?
Hello there.
How are you doing, Jerry? Hello? Yeah, let's just
Jerry,
you're the qualifier. Flight for two to LA with hotel and rental car. The trip is December 26th through December 30th. You're going to get to watch Clippers, Warriors, Rams, Cardinals, and the Edmonton Hockey Club either at the LA Kings or Anaheim Ducks. So Jerry, we're having some issues with the phone right now, so we'll put you in as our qualifier, and hopefully your name is announced on November 29th on the morning show, as that's when the trip will be given away. The EST Flyaway is proudly presented by the 780. It's a homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. So congratulations to Jerry. He is the qualifier for today for texting in crypto.
Awesome. Maybe he'll be at the Crypto Arena.
Trent H says, just give me your money, Hernan. I'm good for it. Trust me. Well, Trent, I have no money. So
that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't get him on the air. Penner's Pancakes, we were talking about Point. He says Point way over Gensel. He is kind of like St. Louis, but it's a better center.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to pinpoint. I remember Braden Point, and he was a lower draft pick because he was small in junior. I know. And the guy is an absolute stud.
Yeah, I know. He's unbelievable. Those Tampa teams, they were stacked, man. And they're still good.
Yeah, they're still good. Zach, if you want to get on camera here when you have the opportunity, we'll continue our NHL predictions. All right, Gager, we just did Breakout Player of the Year. Yeah. Who will win the Hart Trophy?
This is a little bit different for me. I just think I think Leon Draisaitl is going to win another Hart Trophy this year.
Oh, I like you're living on the edge, Gager. I like it.
Well, the easy one is Connor, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's going to be times when, and look, this is probably just looking at that line of what it could be.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that thing clicks, Leon, there's a really good possibility, not only that he would win the Hart, but finish as Edmonton's top scorer.
Yeah. Zach, who do you got for the Hart Trophy?
You know, I mean, it's easy to pick like Draisaitl and McDavid, but I feel like somebody who is on a team who should have made the playoffs last year, but he had an injury and was the top scorer in the NHL at one point before going down. Jack Hughes.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to be boring. I think it's going to be McKinnon.
Yeah?
Yeah. He had a great year last year.
Unreal.
Yeah, I think he's going to be even better. Well, and he has the best player in the world in McCarr with him.
It helps.
That's going to get people fired up. Who will win? Let's start with the goalie, the Vezina.
We're going to go out to the East Coast here and see what I think Markstrom is going to have a great season in New Jersey. I put him because it's a little bit of an outside chance, but I think at the end of the day, he's going to be one of the nominees.
I like that one.
I think he could be up there, and I wrote him down as well as one of my second options, but I honestly think, I mean, he's such a great goaltender, and he just turned down $11 million a year. Igor
crazy.
Shesterkin. Like, what an insane goalie that is, and how he performed in the playoffs, and let alone the regular season. Like, if he could even come close to replicating that, it's going to be insane. Because what was it last year? It was Allmark sharing it there with Swayman almost. Like they shared the crease, and now that's broken up a little bit. And Allmark being the best goalie, I don't think he's going to repeat that. So Shesterkin was right there in second or third place or whatever it was. So I think it's his year to get a Vezina.
I'm going to go with the little dude.
Saros. Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic goalie.
Oh, he's great.
Their team has improved immensely. I think they're going to be more offensive. They got a stud on the back end. Juicy Saros, for me, still one of the best. I think he's going to take it, and they'd be its first one.
LTE and I were talking about the contract offer and the saying no. What does he have to do to warrant more than $11 million? Like, so if you're worth that now, how do you increase your value with the play of your season this year? What do you have to do?
Win the cup. He's top 3 goaltender in the league.
Yeah.
But you haven't won anything.
No.
So and you're turning down $11 million, man? Like, that to me is, and good on him. He's setting the bar for goaltenders.
Yeah, but again, and I hate doing this, is you really set yourself up, or you put your team behind the 8 ball if you're, as from a GM standpoint, looking at it, and what the NHL has shown over the last few years is that you don't need outstanding goaltending to win a Stanley Cup. You need really good goaltending.
Yeah.
And Stuart Skinner was really, really good by the end of it. Like those last 2 series, Game 6 against the Stars, he's the only reason that game didn't go back to Dallas. And who knows what would have happened then. Your cap being over 10% of your cap being wrapped up in goaltenders is a lot to ask for. It should be around 8.5. That's where it is. Like if him alone would be commanding over 10. So having 12, 13 wrapped up in your goaltenders, you're not as competitive a team.
Yeah, no, I don't know where New York goes from here, but it's going to be interesting to track this as the season wears on. Let's move on. What player on a new team will make the biggest impact? Zachticum, you want to start?
I mean, you didn't say negative or positive impact, but I feel like the most
positive. Hopefully.
Okay. Well, of course, I think Ty Emberson stands out because he can either make a really big impact on the Oilers' blue line or be a negative impact because just the games that he's played and the experience he has is so limited that a lot of the success for the Oilers this season kind of relies on Emerson, who only played 30 so games with the Sharks last year. So I feel like he could have a huge impact either positively or, on the contrary, negatively, but we'll have to see how it goes. But I guess for a fully positive impact, I feel like somebody who can really, really come out is Jacob Markstrom, for the Devils, getting an actual goaltender that you could sort of rely on. And sure, he had a couple shaky seasons in Calgary, but now if you're put in that position to be on such a skilled and highly offensive team, it's just giving you the chance to really perform at your best. Like, I mean, the Devils are drastically better than the Flames have been for the last few years, and now Markstrom has that chance to really try and push for continue some playoff success.
No, that's a good one, Gager.
I didn't really know my knowledge of rookies. I just think
no, like it can be like let's say, like you said, Markstrom, like a guy that went to a new team, Stamkos.
Oh, a new team.
Yeah.
I'll go with Stamkos.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think he's going to make a huge impact?
Well, I think there's a little bit of a grr on there. He left angry, you know. Yeah. I'm more looking forward to seeing him in the Western Conference too, you know, out east for his whole career. It's kind of Ovechkin-like with that one-timer over there. So
Jason and Leduc says Stamkos in Nashville. That's a good one. I got two. I'm going to say Ullmark in Ottawa. I think he's a game changer for them.
That's a good one.
And I'm going to say good old Jay Gensel in Tampa Bay.
Does he make up for Stamkos?
I think he does. He's got to stay healthy too, but that's an interesting one. So those are mine too. Keep those coming in. Joel says Holloway for Vezina. Trent says Trent says Shesterkin. Joel said Swayman. Which player on a new team will take a step back? I can start this one if you guys don't mind. I'm going to go Jake DeBrusk.
Who will...
And I'm not saying he's going to be terrible. I'm just saying a step back.
Step back? You think Jake will have a step back? Wow. No, I just from what we heard today and where I thought this player was going to start the year, I am going to say Dylan Holloway, just because it looks like they're wanting him to play top line minutes right now. I just don't think he's ready yet.
He's ready for that?
Yeah. He could be at one point for sure, but I don't think he's ready.
Zachticum?
I mean, this guy got so much money, and it feels like he went to a spot that just is always a difficult place to find reliable defensemen, and he's aging. He's on that right side. Chris Tanev.
Oh,
on the Leafs. I feel like his season last year and kind of the injuries that he was battling through, like, I don't think he's going to replicate what he did on the Stars team.
Yeah.
With their elite defensive core. Now it just flips and playing in such a different market. Like, I feel like Chris Tanev might fall off for the Leafs.
That's a good one. I'm going to throw another one out there. Chandler Stevenson.
You think he's going to have a step back?
I do.
Not a chance, man.
I do.
That guy's a whale.
He is, but I just, he's not on the Vegas Golden Knights anymore.
Yeah, but he was the straw that stirred that martini. He was the reason they beat the Oilers, I think, back when. He was unbelievable. Maybe not. He was pretty good against Dallas, I guess.
We'll track all these.
No.
I like this one from Gregor. He says negative impact, Pierre-Luc Dubois in Washington. I don't know how none of us picked that one.
Well, it's just par for the course.
And then positive, he says DeBrusk on the nasty chat. Chris G's reminding you that Holloway's starting on the first line right now, Gager. But yeah,
that's why though. That's why I'm saying that. I thought when I looked at the St. Louis roster, I didn't think he would be with those guys.
Chief Andy, you little bugger. He says Skinner. I don't know if he's saying Stu Skinner or Jeff Skinner, but it's one or the other. Let's see here.
So is there going to be like a J in front of and an S in front of the Skinner names? I hate when that happens on jerseys.
No, because I think one's a goalie, so it
just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Joel says Ovi. Penner's Pancakes agrees with me. He says, I'm not sold on Stevenson at all. That contract will be ugly as it ages. So I think there are some good selections there. Darcy Kemper's another one that I think is going to have a big step back in LA.
If he can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing with him, right? Oh, he gets injured.
All right, it's 2:39. We'll wrap up the NHL predictions. You know what we're going to do, boys? We're going to save the Oiler predictions for tomorrow as it's game day for the Edmonton Oilers. So that'll be fun. And also, we already have lined up at 2:20. We're going to have Sarah Orleski from Winnipeg to tee up the game. She'll join us via video, so that'll be fun. And still working on one more guest. But tomorrow, Oiler predictions and Sarah Orleski is going to be a great show as we kick off the season for the Edmonton Oilers. Coming up next, we'll wrap up NHL predictions with Joaquin Gage and Zachticum and myself. But first, here's a sports update with Zach.
A day after being claimed off waivers by the Golden Knights, Vegas has placed Raphael Lavoie back on the wire. Lavoie played 7 games last year for the Edmonton Oilers. Jordan Eberle has been announced as the Seattle Kraken's very first captain. Eberle played for the Oilers, Islanders, and was picked in the expansion draft by the Kraken. Right now, the Kraken Blues game is scoreless. Under 5 minutes into the first period, and later the Bruins play the Panthers while the Blackhawks meet the Utah Hockey Club. The Oilers start their season tomorrow against the Jets. And according to Dave Campbell of Ched, Elks interim head coach Jarius Jackson says Trey Ford will start this week when the Elks take on the Stamps, while Jarrett Dodge will back up and MBT will not dress. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May will get the start this week against the Texans. May was picked 3rd overall in this past draft. New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh has been fired after a 2-3 start with the Jets. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will now serve as the interim coach. In the MLB playoffs, the Phillies battle the Mets, and the Dodgers visit San Diego to play the Padres. Both of those series are tied at 1 apiece. Right after the break, the final segment of EST Afternoons on this Tuesday edition will continue. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and now you're up to date.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
780 is just another lame-ass, low-budget local shop. Homegrown right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 1,000 local vendors from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
.243. I almost fell off my chair.
Well, it's the start of the season. It's crazy.
EST Afternoons, Edmonton Sports Talk. Big news before we continue on our predictions. Elks, guess Jarius Jackson named trade forward QB1. Jared Daggy will back up. MBT will not dress. So,
wow.
Yeah, interesting times there at Elks.
Well, what happened there, Hernan? You were there. What's going on?
Well, I think they're just rolling out the young guys now that there's no more playoffs, right?
Really?
Well, that's what I think. I don't really know.
MBT okay with that?
I mean, I'm sure. You know what's cool? I saw Daggy. I went out for dinner a couple weekends ago, and he came up. He saw me. He came to say hi. He's awesome, good, and he's from Texas. He's got some moxie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like both are going to play. So.
All right.
I mean, what do you think of that?
I think it's horrible.
Okay.
You win together, you lose together. You fight to the end. And I don't like I don't know what's going on. I don't
either
know,
do I. So,
but I think it's ridiculous that he's not even dressing for this game.
Is that what is that what was here? I'm going to look it up. I don't want to
You're ruining my night.
Okay, this is from Dave Campbell, of course, the color guy on Ched, a great guy, my buddy. He says, Elks head coach Jarius Jackson says Trey Full will start at QB on Saturday in Calgary. Jared Daggy will back up and receive some playing time. Ford will see the majority of the snaps. MBT won't dress.
Did he get banged up last game?
Could be. Yeah.
So let's...
But it could also be a vet guy and just saying, hey, we're going to roll with the young guys, see what we got. I
don't like that.
And then Brandon Mann says, sounds like Schultz is starting for Calgary this week as well. Yeah, so quarterback carousel for sure for the two teams that won't be in the playoffs. And this just coming down to Jordan Eberle named the captain of the Kraken. Cool,
no way.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, not
Ebbsy.
just coming down, but today.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Ebbs is the best. Let's continue on here. Division winners, boys. Who wants to start?
All right. Division winners.
Well, I think we're all going to pick Edmonton for the Pacific.
Okay. Yeah. For the... Who do I have?
Unless...
No, I actually know.
Oh, you're going to go Vancouver, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Vancouver.
Love it. Okay, Zachticum, Oilers.
You know, I was thinking Vancouver as well, but I think it's between the Oilers and Vegas, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Oilers are going to start the season too hot. Like, I don't know. It'll take some time for that defense and just some of their new players to mesh in the regular season. So I want to give the edge to the Oilers. Okay. But how it's looking right now, I feel like Vegas will take the division.
Okay, so Vancouver, Vegas. I'm going to go Edmonton, so I'm getting brownie points for sure. Central Division, boys. Gager.
Dallas.
Zachticum.
Let me see. I'm seeing if I did. I got my divisions right. There we go. Predators.
Ooh.
Wow.
I feel like they'll play really well this season.
I'm going to go Colorado. I'm really high on Colorado for some reason. They're a good team, man.
Just put their lineups all next to each other and look at Dallas's and look at everyone else's.
Sure.
With those two teams that you mentioned.
Yeah. But Colorado has the best player in the league.
Yes, but the best player doesn't win the Stanley Cup. The best team does.
That's fair. All right. Atlantic Division. We'll start with Zachticum.
Atlantic. I don't know. I want to say the Leafs. I want to say the Leafs.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's good. Gager.
Wait a second. Atlantic. I think it's Florida.
Okay, I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think Florida's going to take a tiny step back, and they're going to be a little slow to start. We'll find out today at 5 when they play the Boston Bruins.
I would have said that, but then Barkov was practicing 2 weeks after he won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, so. He's just a beast. The Metro. I'll go first.
Okay.
This is a no-brainer.
I'm going to go New Jersey Devils.
I too.
I thought you were going to take the Rangers.
No. After that contract and not taking it, he's gonna struggle.
Zach.
I will not take The Senators, because I'm taking the Devils. I don't think the Senators are going to do very good. I feel like they can make the playoffs, but never top of the division. It's got to be the Devils. It's pretty. I feel like it's pretty obvious. It stands out to me. And
for me, it's between three teams: the Rangers, Hurricanes, Devils. I don't think it's any other team there. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to push. I don't think the Capitals are going to push. Flyers, no. Islanders, no. Blue Jackets, no. I think it's going to be. I'm surprised no one took the Rangers, to be honest with you.
No, they're good. I just think you look at New Jersey. I think that the Rangers have to rely on their goaltending too much.
Yeah,
they have to.
And keep your head up because Jacob Trouba's out there.
Yeah, and I like Zibanejad. I like Fox. I like Kreider's great leader. Yeah, the Rangers will be there for sure.
Yeah.
But they're gonna need those guys to really find another gear, conference final gear, right? To get them over the hump.
This one from Mike in Calgary says, Hernan, I heard someone say MBT is bad in the room. Response, Hernan.
That's fishing.
That's false too. And he used another. I hate using the word cancer when we're talking about bad in the room, so I just changed it to bad. But no, that's false too, Mike. And I can guarantee you that. Anyways, all right, guys. Stanley Cup predictions. Who are your two teams, and who's going to be hoisting Lord Stanley in June?
My two guys that are in the finals,
like your two teams.
So in the West, I got Dallas.
Okay.
And in the East, it's New Jersey.
Okay. And who's winning?
Dallas.
Okay.
Last year, I had Dallas winning the Cup against the Panthers, but the Oilers beat them out. So I'm changing it up a little bit this year. I don't know if I'm fully confident in my picks, but the Avs and Rangers with the Rangers taking it. But like you said, they gotta kind of click into the playoffs, and they've been through some strife before. But man, like their whole team is just so skilled. It's pretty insane.
I'm gonna go Dallas as well and Rangers. I just listen, and this is not us not wanting to be homers. I just think it's, and I know Florida's done it in Tampa Bay. It's really hard to get to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals.
It is.
Yeah, and until the Oilers improve their back end, I'm a little hesitant to put him there. So, and I'm not saying they won't be back there. I think they will in the next 2-3 years.
There's a really good chance that they could do
of course.
That. Yeah, they could. I mean, I'm not saying that the Oilers won't win. It's a good chance, but game one, I mean, you can make your predictions, but just the way they look, Dallas Stars team looks stacked to do it.
But I am taking the Rangers to win it. Okay, so you had Dallas, Zachticum. Who did you have again? Colorado?
I had Avs against Rangers. Rangers.
Okay, so me and Zach both picking the Rangers, but the West opponent is a little bit different. You guys want to give us a fun, bold prediction for the upcoming season?
A what?
A fun, bold prediction.
A bold prediction. I would say that Ovi
I like this.
Gets goal 42 in the first week of April.
Nice.
That's pretty bold. There's a few that I want to say. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of defensemen can get a lot of points this season, but I want to say, I feel like Matvei Michkov is going to come out and just come blowing out of the water, man. He's going to explode as a rookie, and I feel like he's going to perform better this season than Connor Bedard in his sophomore year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Bedard.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, no,
that's interesting.
I'm not a big,
what is it though?
I just look at his size, the way he has to battle. I think he can be a really good player, but there's a huge learning curve of him trying to figure stuff out here. I think when when the Chicago Blackhawks get to a level where they're a little bit more competitive and the teams take them a little bit more seriously, and not that they don't, but let's face it, if you're playing the Chicago Blackhawks and you're playing the Edmonton Oilers, there's a different mindset going into that game. It's one you should win and one you hope not to get embarrassed, depending on the team, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's not getting everyone's best game yet, and that's not his fault. But just from what I see, great offensively talented, but it's just that whole learning thing of becoming a superstar in the NHL. He has it seems like he checks all the boxes to become one. If he does, that's another thing. Look, I've been wrong my whole life, so I could be wrong, but I just think I'm not as high on him as most.
I think Toronto and I think Carolina are going to take big steps back. I'm not high on those teams because for me they're very similar. Carolina always gets to the second round, can't get past it. Goaltending issues.
Well, they got Freddie Anderson. Come on, man.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy.
No, he took a break. Are you kidding me?
And I look at Toronto. Their decor is old. Again, their goaltending is up in the air, right?
Again, on Freddie Anderson for a National Hockey League team to come out and say, "Yeah, he told us that he needs a break." What?
Load management, man.
Oh my gosh, man. That's soft. That is really, really soft. And I don't know how you do that to your teammates, unless maybe we don't know exactly what happened there or something, personal reasons. I don't know, but man, then say that. Say that as an organization. Don't say, yeah, he talked to us and needed a break.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, Zachticum? And I swear to God that this is true. I was going to go with Mitchkov too, the rookie in Philadelphia. So
wow.
So then that's why I had to pull up all the teams and be like, he kind of we were thinking on the same wavelength there. I like the Ovi one though. Like I hope he starts on fire. I hope he has 10 goals in October.
If you know how sometimes like he's a streaky scorer too.
Yeah.
Like so he could just go off first game and get a hat trick. There's no you can't say he couldn't.
Chris G, I'm watching the Kraken game, and the speed this team makes me very worried. All the Oilers will match up. Let's wait till tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
It does look a little fast. I got it on the TV here, and I'm like, jeez.
This has been a fun show. Big thanks to Adam Kimelman from NHL.com as we went around the NHL, and Andy Strickland, who joined us minutes before puck drop there in Seattle. He gave us a quick update on 2 former Oilers and 1 Edmonton product. As of course, Jake Neighbors played for the Oil Kings, and Holloway and Broberg. And we did our NHL predictions. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. We got Sarah Orleski joining us, and she's going to preview the Winnipeg Jets. And we're also going to do our Oilers predictions. We're going to have some fun with that. All right? Good times. 2:56. It's time for us to go. It's time for the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Like always, they have a great lineup coming to you. Keep it locked on EST from 3 to 6. For Joaquin Gage, who said Cale Makar is number 1. Zachticum, who didn't pick the Oilers to make the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'm Hernan Salas. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy the start of the NHL season. This has been EST Afternoons. We'll talk tomorrow. Ciao.